Good morning, Carroll County. This is Brian DiLeonardo, your state's attorney, with this week's State's Attorney's Report. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. And as I said before in our previous program, that one of the things I wanted to highlight as we get through the holiday season is things that we're grateful for. And one of the things that I'm certainly grateful for is having just a tremendous staff in the state's attorney's office, people that work behind the scenes that have just an incredible amount of experience, and it makes our jobs as attorneys so much easier when we go into court. And one of those people that I'm fortunate enough to have this morning is Pam Arnold. So good morning, Pam.
Hi, Brian.
Pam is the district court staff supervisor. And an interesting story is when I was a prosecutor back in the late 90s, actually working in the office, Pam was in the office then. And now coming back as state's attorney, Pam is still here. So let me ask you, Pam, what do you love about the job that you do?
Brian, I think the biggest thing that I enjoy is the challenge of the type of work that we do. It's always different. There is such a variety of things. We've watched crimes evolve from when I first started. There's the intensity is just tremendous.
Now, when exactly did you start in the office?
I can't give you the year. It was 25 years ago in October or February.
So I would be the third state's attorney that you've worked
You will
with.
be the third state's attorney that I work for.
So you know she must be doing a pretty good job. She's made it through three of us. Let me ask you this. So you talked a little bit about how it's different over the years. But let me ask you, first of all, tell us what you and the people that you supervise in the office, what do you do?
We actually summons the records. We summons hospital records. We summons credit card records. We summons the witnesses. We look for locations of people that have failed to appear for court for some reason. We track them down.
So pretty much you put all of the witnesses and all the evidence that's needed for a district court case.
We like to say we do everything but go in the courtroom and argue the case.
And that's a pretty accurate description. Tell us how many cases comes through the district court?
This year we have 5,055 cases that we're working on. 3,581 of them are new cases. And then we've had 7,446 hearings this year.
And so you're talking about really a tremendous volume. I think it's often surprising to people when they hear those kind of numbers, and especially when you're having to put those entire cases together as you go. You talked a little bit about some of the changes now that you've seen, because it's not maybe the quantity, but even if the quantity stays the same, the number of cases, what is really different in the nature of the cases you're saying?
The types of crimes. When I first started, you'd have your barroom fights. You would have your DWIs. You'd have bad checks. And we've evolved to identity theft, breaking and enterings, burglary, the lesser burglary charges. Just so many things that I don't think the citizens of Carroll County realize go on around them every day.
Well, it's certainly the demands for the evidence required, because there's a lot more legal requirements too. We have HIPAA regulations that really restrict how we can access records, or we have credit card type crimes where we're having to comply with bank requests. How has that affected the job?
That has made the job grow tremendous, because we used to get medical records with a subpoena. Now we have to request permission from the patient to get the medical records. They have 15 days to respond. If they don't respond, then we can go ahead and get them. If they respond that they don't want us to have them, then we have to do the court order. With bank records, we used to get the bank records and be able to enter them into evidence just as they were. Now everything has to be a certified copy of the bank records, or they don't go into evidence. So it's a lot more. You've got to watch what comes back in and watch what you send out to make sure you're sending everything.
Well, and I would say too, for district court, there's a real time element to this, right?
There is.
Tell us a little bit about from charging to going to court. What kind of a time frame are we talking about?
I think that's what's surprised me the most, because I had worked in circuit court. With district court, they can be charged in November, and 2 or 3 weeks later, you've got a trial date and you're headed for court in about 3 more weeks. So a lot of
there's a high volume, often it has to be really quickly done in order to be able for the attorneys to be prepared for court. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you, Pam, you had a great Christmas as well.
I did.
Let me ask you, and I guess as a final, obviously there's been a lot of change over the course of the year. How's that been?
It's been great. I think everybody was looking forward to some changes, and you've made a lot. You lessened our workload in some respects by turning some of the responsibilities over to the attorneys, but then in other respects, with the onset of the dropping of the felony counts and sending them back down to district court, there's been some added work there, and we're trying to get discovery out in every case now rather than waiting for an entry of appearance from an attorney. So that's kind of bumped the workload back up. But believe me, there's always plenty to do.
That's definitely true. Well, hey, Pam, thank you so much for coming in this morning. I want to tell everybody again, I hope you had a great Christmas, and I certainly wish a very happy and safe New Year. This is Brian DeLeonardo, your state's attorney. Have a great day.